What do you do confidently now that made you feel weird in the past? Asking people to pay back money they borrowed. God, back in my senior year of college, I used to dread asking my roommates to give me the money for the bills. No idea why, since that's what they agreed to. I just felt like such an asshole for doing so. Walking down the street, realizing I was going in the wrong direction, and making a U-turn without pretending to have forgotten something. Same here. My old tactic since the cell phone era began was to stop in front of some building, look around like I was waiting for someone, and pretend to call or text that person until I was certain that anyone who might have seen me was well out of distance before turning around. Going out for a meal on my own. Thank you for this one. You reminded me of the first time I did this when I was about 20 years old. Moved into a new neighborhood and really wanted to try this cute little place down the street from my apartment, but was solo. Put it off too many nights to admit, until finally said fuck it, grabbed a book, got a table, and had the 4-course meal, and I loved it. I was super nervous and embarrassed, but ended up having a pretty damn fine time. Wear a mask over my face, entering a bank to get the money. Go out in public and be around crowds. When I first started using a wheelchair, I was hyper aware of people staring at me, avoiding getting near me, or acting strange when interacting with me. Decades of being a wheelchair user have desensitized me to all that. Hardly notice now. Buying condoms. I remember one of the first times I bought some, my girlfriend at the time wouldn't accompany me to the register because she was embarrassed. I purchased that lone item. The guy ringing me up said, "Have a nice day." I responded, "Oh, I will," with a wink and a smile. He got a laugh. At the end of the day, you gotta remember you're preparing to get laid. Don't be embarrassed about that. Saying how I feel. I'd usually bottle things up because I didn't want to upset anyone. Swim without a shirt on. My sisters made fun of how I looked without a shirt on when I was like 12, and it stuck with me for years. Just the other day I went to the beach and realized that I finally don't care anymore. English. I used to be terrible and my accent still sucks sometimes, but after more than 20 years of practice and a bachelor degree from an English university, now I'm quite proud to be bilingual. Stay calm around women I find attractive. I used to get anxious and even avoid. Not really at the present, not since February, but going to the cinema alone. First time I ever did. Back in 2016, it felt weird to be honest. Even had a mother ask me if I was waiting for anyone. But now, I actually prefer it most times. It means I don't have to worry about scheduling with a friend on what day's best. Don't get me wrong, I have still gone with friends, but 90–95% of the time I go alone, I can do whatever I want before or afterwards, whether to look around the shops or just go straight home. So many things. Getting older and caring less about what people who don't matter to me think of me has been extremely liberating. I've also learned that most people aren't actually paying attention when you do something stupid or embarrassing. People are usually off in their own little worlds. I was a very self-conscious and eccentric child, but adult me has fully embraced my weird side, and it's wonderful. I am who I am meant to be, and I'm surrounded by amazing people. Say no. A lot of people struggle with saying no. I used to struggle with it as well. I got a lot of advice to be unapologetic. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to give a reason to say no. That is stupid advice. That is obviously going to harm your relationships. Instead, I realized that most people are reasonable. I present my case in a way that the other person can understand and explain why I need to say no. Almost everyone understands and does not want to put you in a difficult situation. If the other person is not reasonable, there is no point explaining further. Then you just gotta say no. But you need to try to explain first. I'm the fat girl in the gym. For my entire adulthood, I would hold back my workouts for fear of jiggling, sweat, boobs bouncing, heavy breathing. I get red in the face with any exertion. Finally, I got some quality clothes that fit properly, really good bras that keep the girls in check, and now I'm really proud of how hard I work. I sweat through my clothes every workout. My hair gets soaked. I love leaving drips underneath my heavy bag. Now my coaches use me as an example of what to do if you want higher intensity in the exercise we are doing. I love it. Only 2 more hours until class starts. Embrace the power of the pause. When asking someone a question, allow the silent pause after the question to build tension that compels them to answer. The longer the silence, the more compelling the tension, the more effective to get someone talking. I quit giving a shit. I'm not well liked now, but I am liked, and that's better than before. Talking on the phone. I was crippling shy as a teenager, to the point I'd have to script what I was going to say before doing something like phoning for an appointment. Then age 21, I got a job in a call center, and nowadays I can phone anyone with ease. I'll even complain about shoddy customer service on the phone now. Flood therapy works. Wearing pink and purple as a male. I always felt weird about it until my wife finally convinced me to get shirts for work in those colors. Now they're basically all I wear. I get a lot of compliments and I feel great in it. Asking for help. I've gone through more trouble and passed up more opportunities than I'd like to admit because I was afraid of asking for someone to help me. Needing help doesn't mean you're weak, and accepting help doesn't mean pity. Dance. Whenever the opportunity arose through puberty and early adult life, I'd just be standing in the corner, too shy to do anything and caring a lot about how I looked to people, sidestepping shyly if I felt forced, to the point of getting nervous about the fact that I wasn't doing anything. Then, one weekend at a music festival, something clicked that felt completely out of the blue, and I started flailing my arms around and making the dumbest moves to the sound of the music, and I had the best time in my life. If there is a party, I'm dancing, all night, with everyone and anyone, and it looks like shit, but I'll be damned if my white ass isn't having the best time. Telling the truth. I used to be so terrified of disappointing people that I would lie to keep them happy. They say the truth will set you free. That's true. It'll also make some people not like you, but that's okay. Driving. Still cautious and safe, but less terrified of making mistakes and freaking out. That and driving any new cars. If someone asked me to drive a truck at age 18, I would have said no way. But now I have a little experience and wouldn't think anything if someone asked me to now. Be proud to be gay. Singing out loud. Ever since I started singing for my kids, I realized it doesn't matter what you sound like as long as you're enjoying yourself. Not living my life to other people's expectations, I go around barefoot, grow veggies, and finally have chickens. Life is so good not being stressed out all the time. Let go of toxic people. Talk to executive-level audiences. Always made me feel weird in the past because they were so senior to me. Now, I'm a bit older and a bit wiser. I have more experience and exposure to C-suite level folks. Most of them are really nice, down-to-earth people. I also now talk to my dog in public, so take my previous statement how you'd like, relative to this statement. If you think it's weird anymore about my talking to my dog like he's a person, he understands what I'm saying most of the time. Just staring into space. Everyone was always on their phones, so I felt the need to be looking at something too. Saying I dislike football. It's like a cardinal sin in the UK. During middle school, I pretended to like it to try and fit in, tried to watch games, made me dislike it even more. Through secondary school and into my first job, when I said I didn't like football, it was usually a cue for some form of harassment. Now, I'm happy to say it and couldn't give a toss how it's received. Playing guitar in front of people. Have conversations with people. I used to basically not be able to talk to anyone for any length of time without being drunk. Small talk and deep conversations was super hard for me. Now, 6 months later, I have talked to people for hours that I have just met about anything under the sun.